Thank you, first of all. It's a great honor and my privilege to be amongst you. What you know about me related to political strategy campaign, which is, I don't think I ever intended or wanted to be what I became, but be what it is. Now, last year, September, I made it official that I'm no longer available to do what I used to be doing, which for the lack of a better word is called as political strategist. I don't think the domain ever existed in India. I wish it now exists so that many more young people become part of the political ecosystem without necessarily joining politics. Now, as you said, I work with Janata Dal United, which is a small regional party in India, primarily in Bihar. My idea is to go back and whatever I've learned and use it at the grassroots level. So next 4 or 5 years, at least, if not more, I want to be working, creating something at the grassroots, understanding how politics works, why people elect or select someone, what are the issues that matters, and hopefully whatever little I have learned would come good in doing what I'm doing. The three things which I should share with you, which drives me or will be driving me going forward, other than, of course, Bihar and whatever little I could do as part of being there as set up of the party which is the ruling party. First, I want to open up electoral politics for youth. When we say youth, those of you who are from India, they know if you are in politics in India, you are youth forever. You never get out of that. So I don't mean that. I really want to open up youth for electoral politics. And I come in a minute why it is so very important and why you should take notice of this thing. The second thing which I'm passionate about is massive decentralization, which we as a country need if we want to change things. And the third thing which forms core of my agenda is allowing lateral entry in governance in India at a scale that allows thousands of people like you to come and become part of governance as per mutual requirement and convenience. So coming to the first point, why opening electoral politics for youth is important in India. A lot of us, we do not pay attention to the fact that in 1952, the first Lok Sabha, below 40 years of age, 26% MPs were below 40 years of age. In present Lok Sabha, when everyone is talking about youth, the below 40-year age MPs are 7.6%. Modi ji is proponent of youth and Rahul ji is youth. But that's not shocking. What should shock you is out of those 7.6% MPs who are below 40, 2/3 of them, precisely 67% if I'm getting the percentage right, belong to some political family or dynasty. That means, by and large, electoral politics is getting closed for people across India. In the first 3 Lok Sabhas, 52, 57, 62, we never had MPs who were above 70 years of age. In present Lok Sabha, we have close to 16% MPs who are above 70 years of age. If you marry these two, you realize that people who are getting in, they are not leaving. And even if they are leaving, they are passing the baton like relay race to their sons, daughters, wives, friends, whoever they want to. It's a dangerous thing. So I personally, when I have started this in Bihar, I have made a commitment, public commitment with, of course, consent of Nitish Kumar, who is the party head, that in next 2 years, I want to identify, work, and enroll 100,000 youth in Bihar and make them join politics. hopefully JDU. If not JDU, even if they join some other party, I have no problem. But more importantly, I want 10, 12,000 of them to fight elections. Of course, 10, 12,000 people cannot become MLA or MPs. So when I say these many numbers, that means I am talking about the local bodies elections, which gets almost India gets 3 million people every year, or every cycle of local bodies election gets 3 million people who get elected. So a lot of us as the young people, we do not pay attention to this thing. So that's the first part, opening up electoral politics for youth and what I'm doing on that count. And I encourage questions, doubts, whatever you have on that front. The second is, as I said, massive decentralization. Since early 90s, the constitutional amendment, we have talked about Panchayati Raj. A country of size and scale of India cannot be ruled from Delhi or Patna or Chennai or Hyderabad. No matter how smart the politicians we elect, they are simply not capable to run the lives of millions and millions of people who probably they don't even see in their lifetime. So in my views, the district and below, the elected bodies at district and below should get at least 50% of the developmental budget should be spent through the elected bodies at district and below. We all talk about the fight between state and center. The real issue is why state and center together are not decentralizing power, they are decentralizing resources, ability and power for people to plan and execute what they want to do for their own lives. So this is the second part. The third part is this lateral entry. If you look at 5, 6 things that you as an Indian, or we all as an Indian, we take great pride. You start with atomic energy. You look at space, Bikram Sarabhai, Homi Bhabha, Mr. Abdul Kalam. You look at Green Revolution, Swaminathan. You look at White Revolution, Mr. Kurian. You look at telecommunications, Sam Pitroda. Look at UID, much recently, Nandan Nilekani. All of them were lateral entrants. All of them were lateral entrants. If 5, 6 of those people could create massive change in telecommunication, in agriculture, in space, in atomic energy, in creating identity for individuals. Imagine if 10,000 or 20,000 Indians can be allowed to come and work as part of governance setup, what it could do. It is easier said than done. This is something on which I separated from Modi, because before we started and did the campaign with him, he was votary of it. We worked together on developing something which would have set up a structure with protocol, procedures for massive lateral entries as part of governance. For whatever reason, it did not happen. Maybe primarily my own impatience. I was not patient enough to stay put, and probably as a new Prime Minister, he wanted to have more time. But that's a separate discussion. These are the 3 things I think as Indians, as young Indians, we should be focusing on if we ever want to change the way India is run. To my mind, these 3 are very, very important, if not the most important things. More youth in politics, more decentralization so that people are able to run their lives as per their requirement and wisdom. And third, allowing lateral entry so that the best talent, the brain, which India has across the globe and otherwise, they could come and become part of the governance as they could.
So let's start with the first proposition, opening up the electoral process for the youth. There, a very important distinction is between voters and politicians. So there are 20 million 20 million Indians turn 18 every year.
Every election cycle.
That's 100 million.
No.
Every 5 years you get 100 million added.
Yeah, you add 12 crore, that's 120 million people
right.
gets added
right.
between one election to another
That's
election.
right. So 20 million or 20 odd million multiplied by 5, you get about 120 million.
120 million
Yes.
people gets added.
So that's just voters, right? That they would participate in elections by voting is not what is being discussed here. What is being discussed is a lot of them should enter politics, run for office at various levels of government. The problem in that most people who are not from political families have faced, and I seek your reflection on this problem. The problem is that the resource requirement for running for office, especially assembly and above, I'm not familiar with how much is spent on local elections, running for local elections, but I'm quite familiar now with how much it takes to run for assembly, an assembly constituency. And these are mind-boggling figures. We are talking about, as a political scientist, of course, I talk to a lot of politicians, and you many more than I would. But they're mind-boggling figures. 5 to 10 crores per assembly constituency, per election. 10 crores and above in Bangalore is common. Is common in Bangalore, right? Where I spend 3 months a year. Now, Prashant, how would you deal with this problem? You've spent so much time in politics. Tell us how anyone can raise 10 crores or 8 crores for an assembly election and then think of being a clean politician after that.
So this is one of the misnomers people have, that to become politician, especially in India, you need a lot of money. Actually, it's other way around. If you are rich, you are less likely to get elected. Though you have put the number, I'll just use an Hindi thing. If you have vote, note ka jugaad ho jayega. Society gives you the money to fight once you get the popularity and acceptance. I'll give you the data and because you have quoted some numbers. So Mr. Modi is very popular. He has 200 million plus vote. Hence, BJP is one of the richest party in India. Mr. Ambani is probably 100 times more richer than BJP as a party, but he cannot get even 10% of the vote what Mr. Modi or BJP can get.
True.
I can give you 100 examples of politicians who actually, when they became politicians, they were not rich. What happens as a human being, we look at politicians as they look today. So you look at Mayawati as he looks today. You look at Lalu Yadav, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Modi, Nitish Kumar, whoever you name, Chandrababu Naidu, he's actually not a kind of self-made politician, but say, all the names that comes to your mind.
NTR ke damad hain wo.
Yes. So all the, I put this as a challenge to you. All the politicians who you follow, you care, you go and see when society made them leaders, where they were rich. Actually, they were not. And that is the complaint you and I have as citizens. We say that before he became politician, he was nobody. After becoming politician, he has become so rich. If you write this line on a piece of paper, what are you saying? Before he became politician, he was nobody. After he became politician, if he so choose, he could become rich. And I tell you, all the chief ministers who are there in India today, they all come from relatively humble background. And again, I throw another challenge to you. Give me one industrialist who has gone on to become chief minister of any state of India. Never, ever.
Agreed.
That is why you could be a prime minister and still you want to be pretending as a chai wala. Yeah. Because your large part of your constituents, the people who elect you, are poor. 80% of electorates are still not making 100 rupees a day. So as a politician, you would be making the mistake of your life by pretending to be rich. And that's why we all wear khadi ka kurta pajama, even if you have millions of dollars in your bank account. No, I'm not making a lighter comment on this. What I'm saying is, as a politician, as a wannabe politician, you can start. You need not worry too much about money. See, if you have money, anything what you want to do in life is relatively easy to start with. If you are son of a rich person, coming to Kennedy School is relatively easy. If you are not from a rich family, you might have to take a loan, you might have to take help from 5 other people. Same applies in politics as well. If you are son or a daughter of a rich person, starting in politics could be easier. But that does not make you more likely to succeed. At least data doesn't tell you. All who are there in India as a successful politicians, most of them, when they became politician, not afterwards, when they became politician, when society made them the politician who they are, they were not from the rich family background. They never had money.
But that still leaves an important question unresolved.
Yes.
Even agreed, Nitish Kumar was not rich when he entered
Mamta
politics.
Banerjee,
Mamta Banerjee was not rich.
Lalu
was
Yadav,
not rich.
Mulayam Singh Yadav.
But if the requirement is that you must raise money from others even if you don't have money yourself.
Yes. Though you raise.
You raise money.
Because in democracy you have to raise money.
You will have to raise money, right? Once you raise money, you will also have to do something for those who gave you a lot of money.
No, it depends how you raise the money. If you have raised money by getting into quid pro quo, then of course you have to do something. But if you have raised money, as you do a lot in this country or many other mature democracy, I don't think necessarily you have to get into quid pro quo, which...
Well, so then this whole issue of campaign finance reform for you is not a serious issue?
See, there are mixing two things.
Okay.
So parties raise resource and they spend money on the campaigns. A lot of it in India is not over the table. So as a society or as a country, we need to take care of that part. And the way forward there is like countries like England and all, we should have a ceiling on the party's campaign budget. In India, we have ceiling on individuals. How we circumvent it is if you do not put the candidate's picture out there in the campaign, then you can spend as much as you want. And hence you see a lot of money coming into electoral politics. But there has to be a cap at the party level. If you put that cap, it could be just a function of number of votes, percentage, whatever, a formula as it is in many countries in the world. That will put some cap and bring some sanity back in the campaign financing. But campaign financing per se is not the root cause of a lot of problems which you and I see.
Okay. Now, on the question of decentralization, you say 50% of resources should go to the district level and below.
Yes.
Now, after the 72nd and 73rd Amendment, which took a lot of time to pass, because the problem was not, or problem was as much the inability or the unwillingness of Delhi to decentralize, as also the inability or unwillingness of state governments to devolve power downwards.
It's more on the states now.
More on the state level, because the state level leaders don't want to see leaders rise from below.
It's not only that,
Yeah.
it's both. They do not want leaders to rise, they also want to control
resources. Okay. So how do we, perhaps you can convince Nitish Kumar that 50% of resources can go down to the lower levels. But the political economy studies have repeatedly shown that state level leaders, state capitals are not, it's not going to be easy for you as a campaigner to spread this message beyond Bihar and persuade state governments to devolve powers below and devolve resources below.
So it's a process, a journey. As it has happened in the case of between center and a state. So 20 years before, if you would have looked at the state and the central finances, it was all driven by Delhi. Now states are spending more money, and many progressive states are actually largely in control of their finances and what they want to do in their states, largely. Central assisted programs are becoming smaller and smaller. You have a formula through which you devolve resources, you send it as percentage of the total kitty, and then it is largely for the state governments to decide how they want to spend. And many of them are raising more money in the state level than what they get as the share from the center. Between a state and local bodies, district and below, this will again take another 10, 20, 30 years, and a lot of debate and a lot of persuasion by people. But first thing is, you and I have to appreciate that what we see our MLAs and MP doing is not their job. They are not there to build drainage. They are not there to build roads. They are supposed to legislate. In India, nobody sees them as legislatures. We meet them to make good school, road, drainage, electricity. That's the job of the local body. Because local body started literally in India only in 90s after this constitutional amendment, it is still to mature. People still are to realize that actually they need to be more careful about the chairman of the district, Jila Parishad as we call it, or the Mukhia, the village head, than MP or MLA. Because MP or MLA do not have resource. If you take out the MP lad, which is a special fund which member parliament gets in India, he or she does not have any money to spend. Compared to that, a chairman of a district elected body would be having budget in states like Maharashtra, where it is a little bit more evolved. I would say a minimum, say $50 to $100 million per year. So their ability to actually bring change on the ground is far bigger and better, because it's relatively newer setup within the democratic structure we have. We do not pay much attention. So you will not meet people who want to become chairman of Jila Parishad. Everyone wants to become MLA. But those who are there, actually, they know that it's far more better and to become a chairman of a Jila Parishad. And you asked how much money people are spending in campaign. I can tell you on record that to win Jila Parishad chairman is far more expensive affair than winning an MLA elections anywhere. Because you actually have tangible resource, and if you are good, you can bring a lot of changes on the ground, rather than becoming MP and MLA. Because you are just there, people think they have different expectations from you, and you don't have resources or mandate to do what.
But this will require that Jila Parishad chairman be directly elected. In which states of India are the Jila Parishad chairman directly elected?
They are not directly elected.
They are indirectly elected, right?
But they are like councillors are elected, and councillors elect Jila Parishad. But some of the states are far more progressive in the way they are organizing their local bodies. For many states, for example, you have 50% reservation for women in local bodies. In most states, almost all, we have at least 1/3 reservation for women, something that has not happened in Parliament of India until today. Everyone is talking about women empowerment. It has not happened in the assembly, it has not happened in Parliament, but most of the states have implemented it at the local level. And you see thousands and thousands of women at the grassroots level coming through this channel.
Another idea that is being debated in the political process, what is your view of that? Should the mayor be directly elected? Should the chairman of panchayat be directly elected?
So there is no chairman of the panchayat, the head
of the panchayat.
So he or she is directly elected. The mayor of the city, because it's a Western concept, in West we see mayors, very high profile ones, getting elected directly. To my mind, it doesn't make a hell lot of a difference. So if mayor is elected by the councillors of a city, it's same like having a parliamentary democracy at the country level. That rather than electing your president directly, you are electing your MPs, and they are electing the person who is going to be the prime minister.
But there's a big difference, Prashant.
Why?
The municipal commissioner, let's say Bombay, dominates Bombay Municipal Corporation, and he is not elected. He is an IS officer. Whereas if the mayor were directly elected, if the mayor were directly elected, he doesn't report to the mayor.
No, but this is where I'm saying, see, how the mayor is elected is a different topic. The head of the BMC is the mayor, it's not that commissioner. Commissioner sits under mayor. What you are saying is whether the mayor should get elected directly. Maybe that will create a little bit more visibility, will give a little bit more confidence to that person who gets elected himself. But that holds true even for the Prime Minister then.
Prime Minister does not report to the Cabinet Secretary.
No, the Mayor also does not report to the, anyone who knows here the structure.
Well, I've been interviewing them of late.
Sorry? Yes, Mayor, the head of the...
Mayor does not have fiscal authority. The budget comes from the municipal commissioner. Listen to me. I've been researching this. The budget comes from the municipal commissioner. It goes to the council for approval.
No.
That's it. The mayor does. A standing committee does that. Yes, the mayor does not have budgetary authority.
Okay, so that is
simply approval.
No, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That the power has to devolve. See, the power has to devolve. That I agree. But what you're saying that mayor does not have power, that does not mean that he's not the administrator of the municipal corporation is not reporting to mayor. He is reporting. But mayor does not have any fiscal power. That because the state, the chief minister wants to control it through the bureaucrat out there.
Correct.
Because they do not want to give the money directly to the mukhia or the chairman of the, it has got nothing to do with how he or she is elected. It has got to do with the mindset at the state and the central level that I should distribute the budget, it should not go in the hand of mayor. It has got nothing to do with the bureaucracy.
Okay, so one more question then before we open up. When you were a political strategist, you had the following successes. The state assembly campaign of Mr. Modi was hugely successful. Then the parliamentary campaign of Mr. Modi in 2014 was hugely successful. Then your work with Nitish Kumar in the Mahagathbandhan was at the assembly level was hugely successful. Then you worked with Rahul Gandhi. Punjab was hugely successful, UP was not, where Congress dropped to 7 seats out of 403. Why did the Congress, under your strategic direction, fail?
In one line, we could not execute what we planned, and therefore the result, as you said, was disaster. My fault, if whatever, because I should own it to me, that despite making the change or agreeing to the change that Congress party was expecting, or the leadership of Congress party at that time was expecting me to do, I kept on remaining there. I did not quit. Every time they said, okay, this we cannot do, can you find an alternative way? And I would come with an alternate plan, and they would, after 10 days, they would say, no, but this one component cannot be done. So why don't you come with plan C, plan D, plan D? So by the time we reached 3-4 months down in the campaign, we were probably working on plan Z. But I were to blame. I probably was overconfident. I thought that even with my Z plan or the 10th plan or 20th plan, I would still be able to pull it off. But simply we could not execute what we planned. And it's like having a prescription and not buying the medicine, or buying the medicine but not having it. So you can have the best medicine, but if you don't consume it, it's not going to help you. And that's what happened. So post-election, Rahul and the family, they are still personal friends. We agreed that, okay, let's not harm each other if we cannot help each other. Because I think if Congress were to fought elections of 2017 traditionally without me, they would have done better than 7. If they were to fight as I would have made them fight, they would have done better. What we actually did was a mix of both. So we started back with big hype, and then in between they said, okay, now we have enough to get into alliance, and they went into alliance. And I was also there, part of the decision you could say. So it did lot of harm to the party. So we realized
the alliance did a lot of harm to the party, or the mixing up of strategies?
It's like not being clear. You change course midway. So you start with a campaign slogan, 27 saal UP Bihar, which is basically telling that in last 27 years, whoever has been ruling UP, they have not done any good. And 3 months into the campaign, and you ally with one of them who has ruled 10 years. So what are you trying to tell to the voters? So we made fool of ourselves. Yeah, confusion.
But you should have quit now in retrospect.
Not retrospect. Even there is a politician sitting here from Punjab. He knows what happened. But mistake is with me. I cannot say now after the result that, oh, I should have quit. If I choose not to quit, then I have to take the blame, and I have no harm in it. I have no hesitation in accepting that it was my fault. So the mistake is not of Rahul Gandhi, it is my mistake. Because
That's
if I take credit for the
victory, yeah.
which is not true, which is not correct, people like me are very, very overrated. We are overhyped, overrated. No one, make no mistake as a young person, young people, make no mistake. No individual, no institution, no entity, no matter how big or small that is, can materially make difference in electoral outcome in a country as big as India. People like us can make maybe some difference on the margin, bringing some organization, some structure, some sanity in overall scheme of things. But to say that someone has made X, Y or Z win is a big, big overstatement which should not be attributed, at least not to me.
And now we open up for 15 to 20 minutes of questions. I see lots of hands. Let me state the rules. We will go from this side to that, and we will look for gender distribution, proper gender distribution. So it can't be just men speaking. Yeah? Okay, yes, sir.
Can we do one set from there, one set from here?
I decide the rules, sir. Yeah.
I think
Do
someone
we
has
need
a mic.
someone has a microphone? Yeah.
Yes, so I had two questions. So first question was, you spoke about funding, and I think like how to raise money for election if young people were to enter. But the other thing is about contacts. Like right now, after you start.
It's not.
So after you started like the political consulting, I think many of my friends and batchmates from BITS Pilani, they joined it. Then there was a LAMP fellowship, which where you could work with MP, and a similar program was run by Maharashtra government too. So there's a lot of youth participation in terms of that sense, but the buck didn't go above that. Like we didn't see youth contesting or something in elections. So one thing you spoke about was money. So what about the contacts? Like say tomorrow if I have money, I might still not have the contacts. And the second part is, was Priyanka Gandhi part of your plan which Congress is executing right now?
On the first thing, I don't know you. It's a very wrong way to look at. You can't become politician by having money or building contacts. So take that thing out of your head.
Okay. There is lots of interesting. Sorry. Yeah.
Who makes you politician? It's the people, not Modi or Nitish Kumar or Chandrababu Naidu as you and I see. It's people who make you politicians, make you their leader. Once you become leader of some stature, then leaders of the political parties take you up and give you a platform, which you see as a ticket or position in organization. So as a wannabe politician, if you want to join politics, first try to become leader of the community who you want to lead. Rather than thinking about money, contacts, network, all those things will fall in place, no worries. If you have people behind you, everything will fall in place. Don't be over obsessed about that part.
Second question.
Second question,
Priyanka.
Priyanka Gandhi.
Since you said all questions are welcome. So.
Yes, I do. I'm not. So no, what they're doing today is not my plan. Yes, I was the big votary. In fact, I designed the program where she was to be the face of the UP Congress campaign. At that time, it did not happen for whatever reason. Now they have decided to bring her, but not in the role or the manner in which I would have envisioned. But her coming to politics, as I have said in one of my tweets when she came, is a big news. I would pay attention to that part rather than exact role what she is doing and what impact she would create in 2019 or something like that. I would look at more from medium to long-term point of view and not be obsessed with the way Indian news channels are running it, like a breaking news, this is going to change, that is going to change. Nothing is going to change, don't worry. The UP elections are between BJP and Mahagathbandhan. She is one of supposedly a charismatic faces. We have to see how she goes about it. But look, if you are interested in following her journey or what impact she creates, you have to have at least 2, 3, 4, 5 years perspective, not 2 months perspective.
Let's invite I saw one of the women raise their hands. Yes, miss. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
See, barrier is more in your mind. As you know, as young people, we think because you have gone to a good school or you have earned something on a professional front, you think everyone who is in politics are inferiors or bad people, and this is domain where I need not go there. And I'm the one who knows everything, I'm much more articulate, I'm more educated, I have a better plan. That's not the right way to look at it. As Plato would have said, that if you do not participate in democracy, be ready to be ruled by your inferiors. So if you are Harvard graduate and you don't want to go and participate in democracy, be ready that a district college graduate will be your master. So onus is on you. Most of us, we sit in our living rooms, our lounge, and wherever we sit, choose to sit, and we crib about, look what kind of politicians are there to rule. But who has prevented you and me to go and try out? If you think you are better, go and compete. People from United States are not going to India and clean this up. If you are better, go and compete.
Now we go to that side. Yes, sir. Yeah. Introduce yourself, please. And
My name is Vinny Kumar, and first of all, you look very nice today because I tried to Google your picture and I all find you in the kurta and pajama, but today you're in jeans and nice sweater. You looks good.
I thought I always wore black.
Okay, so my question is, you are creating a great ecosystem in Bihar and bringing 100,000 youths into politics, which is great. But my concern is, I do not know any other state, but I must say Bihar and UP, we have a lot of gangster. We call Bahubali, not the Rajamouli Bahubali, we have real Bahubali. And everybody having a AK-47 muscle power. So how these youth going to deal with them?
So the three things which I'm asked in everywhere I go and I speak, the predominant reservations people have about entering politics. One is what Professor said, money. Second is this Bahubal or whatever you want to call it.
Gangster.
And third, I'm sure someone is going to ask about the caste. That without caste, how do I win? So look at the Bahubali thing. As India matures, we as a country mature as a democracy, the role of these so-called Bahubalis is going down. And do not be fooled by what ADR puts as criminals in politics. Facing criminal charge and being a criminal are two different things. Because those who win because they are really big criminals and voters or section of voters are intimidated by them and hence there is no fairness in their election, that number is probably a very small subset of what ADR puts, where you see 20% people facing criminal charges. Because most of those charges are to do with political agitation and other related stuff. Yes, murder charges also, but even if you are facing a murder charge, say for example Nitish Kumar, I'm just giving you an example. Nitish Kumar, who is supposedly one of the cleanest politicians in India, is facing a murder charge since last 20 years. So ADR report will count that. Do you think he is a muscle man? No. I don't think he is a muscle man by any yardstick. So lot of data which you read in college or set up like Harvard need to be put in context, and you do not have understanding of the grassroots, you get misled. So if you look at the present Lok Sabha, about 543 MPs, 539 to be precise, ADR report says about 30% of them are facing some kind of criminal charges. But in reality, I would put that number not more than 10, 12, 15, which is less than 2%, who are actually criminals or quote unquote seen as Bahubalis and have won elections. It is like when you have on a highway thousands of vehicles moving, no one takes notice. One accident, everyone take note of that. Why do you want to be guided by those 2% and not look at 500 people who have been elected without any Bahubal? You can get elected. The most infamous Bahubali, at least in Hindi heartland, is Shahabuddin. You must have heard it.
And Mr. Anand
in
Singh.
Siwan. And a JNU student leader, just because you mentioned this, a JNU, it is for you to know, a JNU student leader, Chandrasekhar, he challenged him at the peak of Laluji's governance at that time. He was killed. You know who defeated Shahabuddin later on? Mother of that Chandrasekhar. And since then, Shahabuddin has not won the election ever, no matter how big a Bahubali he is. The same Siwan, he could never make it to the parliament.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir. If you have to ask a question, you have to ask me. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, sir.
I think by choice you have chosen Janata Dal United. When you had many parties,
Yes.
what is the reason that you chose Janata Dal United is one question, and second question is, as central finances, when the government of India collects tax, they have a finance commission which decides how they should distribute the money. Similarly, on the same pattern, all the states have state finance commissions, and I'm sure Bihar must be having one.
Yes.
So since you have come very close to Nitish Kumar, have you asked him to implement state finance commission's decisions? If not, will it be possible in next future?
Okay.
Which will decide distribution of money to the local bodies?
Yeah. The first thing first. Why did I choose Janata Dal United? The first thing I tell or advise people who want to become politician is choose the area or the community who you want to lead or become leader of. So for me it was to be Bihar, because my father is from that place, and it's always an advantage to go back to the place where you belong to, because in electoral politics it matters. You can choose if you want to choose where you want to do politics from, it could be only two. Either which is your Janm Bhumi as we call it, or your Karm Bhumi where you have worked. Any third place, if you are doing politics, you are likely to be less successful than otherwise. Once I decided that I want to go to Bihar, then the options were only 2 or 3, and within those options, Nitish Kumar as a leader and party which is not that big, but it's led by Nitish, and I admire the work which he has done in the last 10, 12 years. On governance front at least. So the choice was either start my own party or become part of his party and do what I want to do with regard to a political party in Bihar. So I have opted for him because there is not many options left in Bihar. On the State Finance Commission, see, it's not about how close I am to Nitish. As Professor was mentioning, no one who has the control over finances or vital resources want to give it up like that. That includes Nitish, that includes Mr. Modi, that includes everyone. If maybe I'm there, I would have the similar thing, because that's the human nature. We all think that we know the best. So if the resource is with me, I can distribute it better, I can use it better. So whether Nitish will agree to it or not, that's not material. What is material is I want it to happen. So he has to give it up. He gives it today, he gives it 5 years later, he has to give it up.
Yes, sir.
My question to you is seeking a clarification on your earlier statement is you wanted us to be leading the group that you want to serve for. I come from a state which unfortunately had a 60-year-old politician still being the youth wing leader.
Which state is that?
Yeah. When I met, I must tell you, sorry to intervene, when I met first time Stalin, I had this notion of him being the mayor of Chennai, young leader, and the first meeting, he's 64, and he could not speak Hindi or English, anything. So we were to talk with a translator, and I was like, oh, he's a youth leader, 64, he's now 68, 69 maybe, he's still a youth leader.
Okay, so what's the question? What's the question about him?
Yeah. So I think it's rather simple. They are there because they are not challenged by competent people. Take it in one line. The second thing is this is again, most information which you get, you have to dig little deeper. Tamil Nadu has got many more smaller parties than any other state. This is the state where every district has a party. Every district has a party. That means, and another important data which you should get from Tamil Nadu, almost 40% of the vote, casted vote, do not go to one of these two parties, AIA-DMK and DMK. So what you're saying that it's all dominated by AIA-DMK, DMK is actually not true. Data tells me that here's an opportunity because 40% people who are voting for third, fourth, fifth parties, not for these two. And that's why a lot of people who follow Tamil Nadu politics, they are calling about the political vacuum, the leadership vacuum, and also they are there because the best minds of Tamil Nadu probably are choosing to be in US. They need to go back and so ask Mr. Rajan, who is probably the most known face from Tamil Nadu, that he should go and contest. I'm sure people of Tamil Nadu will vote for him. But if he doesn't go and contest and sit here and complain that, oh, Tamil Nadu is not seeing a good politician, that's not the right way to go about it.
Yes, sir.
Recently made a statement about like Modi will again become a prime minister, and how do you justify that? And second question is, will it work with the YSRCP in AP and why is it like all of a sudden after 2
So everyone heard the question? No. Will Modi, the question is, our understanding is that any question can be asked. So this question is, he would like, he has to decide whether he wants to answer.
I will answer.
Okay, whether Modi will become prime minister again, and YSR question is what?
Why did he leave?
recently, and Modi will again become a prime minister, and how do you justify that?
Okay.
And the second is YSR?
Second question is YSR. I mean, you did work as advisor to YSRCP in AP, and why did you left all of a sudden?
Okay.
Okay.
So where are
Why
you
did
from?
he leave advising YSR all of a sudden?
You are from AP.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second question first, because that's easy. I have not left. The statement in ISB Hyderabad when I announced me joining politics, I categorically told there to the audience that one commitment I have made was with YSRCP, and I continue to help advise run his campaign. So YSRCP campaign in Andhra, for good or bad, is all on me. So that factually you are not rightly informed. On the first statement that whether Mr. Modi will be the Prime Minister or not. So I was asked a question, what is the like as it happens? In India, everyone knows about politics, cricket and Bollywood. So everywhere I go, people ask who is winning the election. I don't have a crystal gaze. I don't know who is winning the election, but if you put the gun on my head and I have to say that who is going to win, more likely than not, NDA would come back to the power. If NDA is coming back to the power, Mr. Modi, who is the Prime Minister right now, and likely to be the candidate of NDA, not likely, he will be the Prime Minister face of NDA. In that context, I said he will be the Prime Minister. I am not there to justify. Why should I justify or not? It's for the voter of India to justify. I am making a statement. I am not backtracking from it. It's an assessment that who is likely to win. I am saying NDA is likely to win, and NDA leader is Prime Minister Mr. Modi. So I do not see a reason that why NDA, as and when they win, they will replace him and bring somebody else.
Yes, ma'am. You're next.
Hi Prashant, it's good to see you.
Yeah, she has worked with me in CAG long back.
Yeah,
Right.
Tanvi, I was one of the first people.
Where are you now?
I was in the policy space before and I'm back to that. So
Okay.
I'm at New America Foundation.
All right.
And my question to Prashant is it's been a long journey.
I
for
thought you have asked so many questions when you worked with me, so why even this stage be taken by you?
No,
Yes.
it's now
No,
5
carry
years
on.
later, so you've
Yes, please
learned
go
a
on.
lot. So my question is on that. Like you've now seen you've talked about politicians a lot, but you've seen the electorate now for a long time. And what are your learnings on the Indian electorate in terms of in what ways is it good and in what ways it really has to mature?
So contrary to most people what they think, I genuinely, from core of my heart, I believe the electorates are, as a group, they are smarter than any smartest, cunniest, most intelligent politician which country has ever seen. So never ever have this misconception that voters are not intelligent enough. They might take money, they might take favors, they do everything, but they still vote out 90% of governments.
Yes,
Just
sir,
for you to know,
next. Yeah. Can you go to the microphone?
90% local bodies, elected people get voted out, despite all the manipulation and campaigners like me who are so inefficient. We can't make you win election if you have not done a good job as a government.
Yes,
People are very smart.
Hare
Do not
Krishna.
undermine
My name
them.
is Panduranga Gopal Das. I have two questions. First, I see a danger that strategists are taking the responsibilities for elections. So
I'm not taking, sir.
No, I mean to say.
How many times I've said no?
No, I mean to say, at least when you take responsibility when it's lost, that I'm partly responsible for the strategy. In the sense, when you said UP elections were lost.
He did say he takes responsibility for the loss of Congress party in UP. He did
Yes.
say that.
Sorry?
He did say that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Most people would see it as a sign of great honest, great humility.
Yes, yes.
Right?
But
He did say that, yeah.
But the danger is, rather than politicians, for example, Facebook can today make a president perhaps
No, they can't.
by the strategy.
They can't
But
make it.
at least,
Make no mistake.
at least it can
10
influence.
Facebook cannot influence Indian elections.
Not
Make no
India-
mistake.
I mean,
I'm
at least
sure
in US
someone
in
from
US
Facebook here might not like it.
In US,
Sorry, if I don't want you to interrupt, but let me just give you an example. You know how hyped these Facebook things are. Few days back, maybe a month or two, or maybe a little longer, there was this whole hoopla about Cambridge Analytica, because you live in US, so you would have heard about it. So someone in India, so for 5-6 days, it was the topic, who has worked with Cambridge Analytica? Because everyone wanted to prove that other party has worked with the Cambridge Analytica. As we all do, we all make up our CV. Okay? So someone has written, who claimed to be partner of Cambridge Analytica, that they have worked with JDU, Congress, BJP, and depending on which channel anchor you are, you will pick selectively. Okay, they have worked with JDU. So my answer to I give an example and you see how trivial it is. One of the claim was that Cambridge Analytica worked with JDU in Bihar in 2009 and impacted the electoral outcome. And there was a half-an-hour television debate about it, led by great Arno Goswami. He's a friend. And saying that, look, how much they have done, they have taken data, they have used artificial intelligence, this, that. So I told them that, just hold on, in 2009, not even 1% of Biharis were on Facebook. What impact you can create on the earth?
okay, anyway.
You don't need to be an Arno Goswami.
What's
You
the
don't
second
need to be
question?
first-hand
What's the
information.
second question?
You talk about introducing thousands of leaders into the electoral system, political system.
Who?
Thousands of youngsters into the political system, but where is the training for the people? You can introduce people, but without being trained people, where is the change that you can expect?
Okay, so first
Thank
of all,
you.
you don't make leaders by training. I'm there, I have committed that I'm not going to fight parliament election, I'm not going to parliament, either upper house or lower house. I want to dedicate my next 2, 3, 4, 5 years working with those individuals who wanting to become politicians. The assumption there is that if I can, quote unquote, advise a Nitish Kumar or a Modi, I could also advise a young guy who wants to become head of the village or win a ward or become a Jila Parishad chairman. So that is training, just for the lack of a better word, if you want to call it a training. But no one becomes leader by attending a course or listening to some great master. Otherwise, the world would have seen likes of Shiv Khera as the Prime Minister of the country, because they know everything.
Neither Obama nor Trump were trained.
Yeah.
Were trained.
No politician becomes politician by training.
Yes, Miss, you. Yeah. Will either we get you a microphone or I'll repeat your question. Yeah.
Is this on? Yeah, hi, my name is Sunatra. I come from a family of politicians, long-standing politicians, and this is more
You have to
purely
announce
rhetorical.
it, if you don't mind.
Sorry?
If you announce it, it would be fair.
Yeah, my father was the Speaker of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. Kupekar Sahib and Jayant Patil Sahib is here from
All right.
Bombay as well. So I think this is more a thought and more not a question as much as a thought and purely rhetorical. And I'm wondering, and if you look at the American politics and the rise of nationalism in this, it's taken a very ugly shape. And I think we are seeing this rise of nationalism in other countries as well. And I'm wondering, in India, I see that a lot. And I think religion is driven by politics so much. So I'm wondering if the millennia, the new people that are going to enter into politics, somehow they make it through the hurdles of barrier to entry of money and so on and so forth, contacts, etc. How are we shaping this new generation getting into politics? What kind of role models do we have for them? Because most of our politics is being driven by these religious agendas and nationalism, and that concerns me from here. I've lived in India all my life, half of my life, and when I look at India from here, it concerns me. So do you have a comment on that?
It seems you're commenting on Hindu nationalism.
Yeah. It concerns me, but not as much as some of you probably, because I think by being overly concerned, you are undermining the intelligence and wisdom of billion people who have seen it all. In 1971, Indira Gandhi had bigger mandate than Mr. Modi has today. By 1973, people were baying for her blood on the street. In 77, Janata Party came with so much of fanfare. By 80, they were thrown out. In 84, Rajiv Gandhi won 412 member parliament. By 87, the whole country was turning his government upside down. So, yes, in parts it might look that institutions are under attack, there is hyper-nationalism being played out, someone is playing a religious card much more than what you are comfortable with. But as I said, make no mistake, people are very wise. India, which is 1/6 of humanity, is too big, too diverse, too strong to be steamrolled by any individual, whether he is trying to do it by being right or being left. India is too diverse, too strong to be steamrolled by any individual, any group. Have faith.
Yes, sir. So your hand has been up for a long time. Yeah. Let me ask the organizers how much. It's already 7:45.
I'm here, but I don't think you want to spend your Sunday evening getting bored with me, because I've got no place to go.
You tell us where to draw a line.
Sir. Can I just ask a very quick
One
question?
second. No, the next question is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whoever has
I'm
Sunday,
asking the organizers, how long are we going to go on?
Leave the decision to you, it is unbound.
I'm bound. So,
Okay.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
so those of you who do not want to have midnight biryani should put a cap of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want to. But
Let's call it a day at 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Anand. I'm from.
But I'm available after this if you want to meet. I'm here. I've got no other work to do.
Hi.
Yes.
So I'm Anand and I'm from Bangalore. So I was interested in your breakdown of the TN elections when you were saying that 3, 4, 5 had same amount of like voter split. Do you think a radical solution like rank-based voting would give people enough confidence to say we are an informed electorate, but at the same time this isn't just a two-party system? Because I just came from a panel on the role of regional parties, and they were so much interested in just the mere mathematical arithmetic of actually getting elected rather than presenting a vision. Whereas if there's a ranked choice voting system, wouldn't it be better for the electorate to evaluate multiple candidates and to give all candidates a fair shot, instead of being a first past the post you win, as opposed to now you have to compete against 4, 5, 6 competent candidates? So I was just wondering your thoughts on that.
So, as a country we have done well, okay, with all our flaws, we have done well, especially on democracy front. I, for one, am not for this romanticized idea of revolution, radical, quote unquote, radical solution. If you're talking about problems and progresses for 1/6 of humanity, you rather go for safer, incremental, sustained change than looking for a radical solution overnight. No one knows, no one has seen The world doesn't know how to bring sustainable change in the lives of 1.2 billion people in a democratic setup. The closest proxy is China, but then they are not democratic. So as a young Indian, you should have faith that we have done well. Maybe we have not reached where we should have reached. Maybe the pace could be better. Maybe the form in which the development is happening could be different. But in 20, 30, 40 years, we will be there. Have faith. Don't go for this radical, that there is one individual or one idea or anything that exists there which you and I can discover and that will change India overnight. Not possible. We should not get sucked into that. You have seen some of the experiments that has happened in India. It has not brought sustained change of any sort.
Yes, sir.
Namaste, sir. It's really nice that you could make it today. And I've been following your work for a long time. My name is Vivek Pai, and I'm an absolute nobody. But I was a little sad and disappointed that you're not in your, your Indian traditional outfit, because I'm kind of used to seeing you in that. My question is...
This is democracy. Someone was happy I'm wearing something like black. You are not happy that I'm wearing black.
Sir, the main thing is, my question for you is, when do you think we Indians will be able to come to Harvard for an India conference and have a discussion in Hindi, Tamil, Sanskrit, wearing Indian outfits?
When we are able to speak Sanskrit, I cannot speak Sanskrit. So
no, I'm just saying it can be Hindi. It can be Hindi, right? We can just have the entire thing in Hindi.
But I can speak Hindi, but it would be injustice to those who do not understand. Why do we unnecessarily has to complicate life? If Indians can understand English, why to unnecessarily say English is as much my language as Hindi?
That's not right, sir. Hindi is our language.
No, only 42% of India speaks
I'm a South
Hindi.
Indian.
But only 42%.
Why to get sucked into these kind of complexities?
I'm a South Indian too.
So long we are able to communicate with each other, whether it is Sanskrit or English, Hindi or Tamil, it's good for me. Why should we unnecessarily be making it that?
I can't have all three of you.
Hindi or English.
So your hand has been up for quite some time. Yeah.
Just one comment and then my question. So, in the fight with the syndicate, Indira Gandhi was in tension that how she will lead the fight because there was no money and syndicate has the power. And that time, Lalit Narayan Mishra, a great leader from Bihar, Darbhanga, told the same thing that you told. कि जब note है तो माने vote है तो note मिल जाएगा. And he did the same thing for Indira Gandhi. That's why he was very close to Indira Gandhi. Sanjay Gandhi brought actually businessmen in the politics like Kamal Nath, who is now Chief Minister. But my question is to you, there is two problems in Bihar politics, which I like to address. The first one, that Satyendra Narayan Sinha, Chote Babu, Chief Minister of Bihar, once journalist asked and he told, journalist question was that why you are always defeated? Means you were winning the election, but inside the Congress, when the decision was made, you are always defeated. And then he told that there is two kind of politician, indoor politician and outdoor politician. This Congress is famous for indoor politician and I don't have any choice. So your aim that you are bringing the youth, will you give the means you will provide the opportunity that they will make the decision or they will be part of the decision, or you will simply impose your decision on them? Because we need really outdoor politician.
See, in democracy, the power lies with those who are elected by people. So you could be Prime Minister, as we have seen, but you would not be as strong, at least you would not be perceived or seen as strong as someone who has been elected to that post or to the chair. So whether you are indoor or outdoor, maybe I do not understand the definition. The real crux is if those who I am trying to join politics are elected by their those who they are representing, they will not be the rubber stamp. Make no mistake. Rubber stamp politicians are created only when they know that to win elections they are dependent on a leader. Because you are mentioning Indira Gandhi, the famous quote that is attached to her is that she used to say the note bhi mera, vote bhi mera, and hence don't ask me any question. So if you are getting vote and note everything, note is the resource, because courtesy a leader or a party, of course you are going to be indoor politician, if I got it that definition right. Otherwise you will be the outdoor politician. So The crux lies in who, if you have your own support base. Lalit Nayan Misra could not have been an indoor politician, no matter whether he was in Congress or some other party.
Yes, go ahead.
Firstly, thanks Prashant for coming. We have seen one thing common in India, both at the central and the state level, is the leaders are resistant of having second rung leaders, be it Modi, be it Nitish Kumar for that matter. Firstly, my first question is, when you were advising these parties, was there a conscious effort for you to build those second rung leaders? And eventually when you did, you were a votary of Priyanka Gandhi and not probably someone else from Congress. What was the reason for that? And number two, you seem to be the de facto number 2 with JDU today. What does that mean to Nitish Kumar? This is the first time we ever heard of someone other than Nitish Kumar from JDU. I know we had Sharad Yadav, who's no longer part of the party. So you are seen on TV right now. What does it mean? Where is it leading to? Are you the next?
It means nothing. It's just in your minds that you are number 2, number 3. As I said, what I'm telling to you applies to me as well. The power is not because Nitish Kumar has made me number 2 or number 3 or calls me a future or whatever. It's not for him. If it's for the people of Bihar to make you number 2 or number 3. So that's not something that should worry you too much. Or
but
whether
the first question, Prashant, did Modi,
every leader who is there,
yeah.
Some of you who probably are much more qualified and probably you are researchers and studies about behavioral science and all, everyone wants to reduce competition. Whether you are in politics, in business, in academia, wherever. In academics, we hear so much that, you know, the researcher's doing the paper and the professor is putting it out in his or her name. So same thing applies in politics as well. Those who are at top, they definitely do not want too much competition, but then it's not in their hand. If there is someone who is number 2, number 3, number 5, whatever you want to call it, if he or she has the talent, they will come up on the surface. Mr. Modi has come it that way, he himself. Nitish has come, he was number 2 to George Fernandes. Modi was number 2 to Mr. Modi. Modi was number 2 to Mr. Advani. In some sense. So if you are talented, you will come up. Who is number 2 to Rahul Gandhi? That's a good question. I think, see, now that his sister has come, by all measures, the way Congress functions, she would be number 2, whether she is
Yes,
called number 2 or not, that's the reality.
We have 5 minutes left. Let me take 3 questions. One here, and one there, together. Yes, sir.
People are forgotten.
I'll keep them. Yeah.
So first of all, let me say it has been very refreshing to hear you. I have a question about some of the things that you mentioned. So what systemic structural changes would you like to make to Indian political system? I mean, to bring more youth, I understand you mentioned that, but would there be any structural changes in this political system itself, in the way how elections are governed or how the system is structured, would you suggest?
So,
Wait. Let's go to one or two.
You have 3, 4 questions.
Yeah. Yes, your hand has been up for a long time. Yeah.
So I'm a computational linguist at MIT, being mentored by the Tata Center with an educational technology startup, create software helping people learn English capable of further using the internet. What's your perspective on entrepreneurship in Bihar, specifically educational technology for teaching English to help the lower classes be able to access the internet? Okay.
So English teaching in Bihar is the second question. Yes, one more. I saw a hand up, not here. Yes, sir. On kar dijiye usse na? Yeah.
I just wanted to know what would be the role of the political strategist that you carved out of and you left. So can a very well efficient political strategist support an unethical and immoral politician and make him win? So because politicians are ready to do anything for that. So I just want to see how your position would be in that case. And
so we have 3. Shall we start with him?
Okay.
Can a strategist make an immoral politician?
So at the first time, I have been repeating it, that please do not give too much weight to political strategists, artificial intelligence, big data, whatever, machine learning, all those things are fine, but at best on the margin. So whether you, as a political strategist, I don't know if this word exists in India, it has just been created. I don't think...
You are responsible for the creation of this term.
No, I hate the word, but
okay.
There is no other word with which people would qualify what I did, and probably they'd use this word. But even if suppose I am immoral and I am to support an immoral politician, I'm not capable of making him win. So as a citizen or as an electorate, you should not be worried too much about it. I hear the debate in US, the intervention of Facebook, this, that. But at the end of the day, if people of United States would not have voted for Mr. Trump, I don't think Facebook or any outside intervention would have made it the way the results pan out.
English teaching in Bihar.
Learning outcome in general in Bihar is a major issue, not only English overall. The education, despite a lot of progress which we have seen as a state in the last 10, 12 years, remains in shambles. I have no hesitation in accepting it. It remains in shambles on many counts across India. Bihar is no exception. English is one of the biggest hurdles we face as a society. English education, if I were to have my way, I would do it tomorrow. The real problem is the teachers. How do you get, where do you get the teachers from to teach English? Because they themselves do not know English. And we have a pool of about 371,000 teachers right now in primary education system in Bihar. So just imagine if we were to train them, it's like training whole community. So I don't know if it is going to change in a hurry, but if your question is that whether it is part of the government's priority, yes, if there is some way we can teach people of Bihar to be more efficient or conversant with English language, government would be all for it. But I don't know if we have a solution right now.
The structural, I think you answered this, so maybe one line on this. What structural change will allow more young people to enter politics?
This assurance that you will get ticket. If you are good, you will get the opportunity to fight elections is the biggest hurdle. For a lot of you people or people like with similar background like yours, they come to politics, but they don't get the tickets to fight elections. So if any political party or individual is able to assure you or demonstrate you over, which can be in a verifiable way, that if you were good, you went, you worked at the grassroots, you got the ticket and you became MLA or MP, it will trigger the chain reaction that is needed for us to get the numbers that will make a difference at a country level. And that's why I could have done it at an India level also. Why I am doing it in Bihar is because in Bihar I can commit that next time 50 MLAs will be getting ticket who will be below 40. I can't promise that for whole of India. But if I do it in Bihar, then when I come back here and talk to you in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, probably people will take me more seriously.
So it's 8 o'clock. We bring this session to a close.